So today we're going to be looking at slope and what slope. So to start, we're going to start with some basic equations that we want to go through and solve. I'm going to run out of room, but we're going to try our best here. I'm not going to check them on the warm-up, but I will go through and I will solve them with you. So 4x plus negative 24x plus 180 needs to equal negative 20. Combine my like terms, 28x plus 180 is going to equal negative 20. I'm going to add negative 180 to each side. So 28x equals negative 200. Divide each side by 28. That's a negative 24x. So this is going to be 20x, and that's going to be 20x, and that will be 20x. So I'm going to divide by 20. That looks a little better. So x will actually equal negative 10. Always make sure you're recopying the problem correctly. Second one, I'm going to get 5x plus 10 equaling 2x plus 1. I'm going to move my 2x over from the left to the right in order to get my variables on the same side. That gives me 3x plus 10 equaling 1. I'm going to add negative 10 to each side. So 3x equals negative 9. Divide by 3, divide by 3. X equals negative 3 for the second one. Third one, 5x plus negative 8 equals 3x plus 12. Move the 3x to the other side first by adding negative 3x to each side. So that's going to give me 2x plus negative 8 equaling 12. Add 8 to each side. 2x equals 20, divide by 2. And again, I get x equaling 10. Slope, we're going to be looking at slope. How do we find slope from a graph? How do we find slope from ordered pairs? So to begin, we're going to just start talking about slope. Slope is how steep a line is. Okay? And we have 4 different types of slope. And the first one is positive slope. We always read a graph from the left to the right. And as we go across this graph, hopefully you're seeing that that red line is going up. Okay? We consider going up to be positive. Okay? If you're moving in an upward direction, you're headed positive. So this is what the line of a positive slope is going to look like. When you read the graph from left to right, it's going to be going up. Negative slope, on the other hand, when you look at the graph, again, from the left to the right, you should be seeing that that graph is going down. And if you see a line going down, that's telling you that you're going to have a negative slope and a negative line. Then we have 2 special types of slope. We have what is known as zero slope. If you have a horizontal line is basically a flat line. And a flat line has zero slope. That should make sense to you. Slope is the steepness of a line. If a line is perfectly flat, there's no steepness to it. It's zero. There's nothing there. So a horizontal line is known as our zero slope. Zero slope is called undefined slope. That's our vertical slope when it's straight up and down. And basically this line is too steep. If you were riding in a roller coaster and you were going down a perfectly vertical line, you'd all crash. You'd all start falling off the back of the roller coaster. It's undefined. It can't happen. So a vertical line has what is known as an undefined slope. So now we're going to look at finding the slope of a line from a graph. And in order to do that, we need to use those positive, negative, zero, undefined slopes that we were just looking at. We're going to be using rise and run to help us find the slope of the line. Rise is how far up the graph is going. Run is how far left or right the graph is going. We're pretty much going to be making stair steps. So let's look at the So in this first graph over here, you're going to pick 2 points on the line. And you want to pick points, if they're not given to you, where you land on whole number values. I don't want to pick a point in the middle of the box here, for example. I don't want to pick a point right here, because I don't want to have to estimate. That's kind of like 1.5 and maybe 3 point. I don't want to estimate. I want to know exactly where I'm at. So I want to pick lines or points on the line that are going to give me nice whole numbers to work with. And basically I'm going to count. So in order to get from the bottom blue dot to the top blue dot, I always start with the one on the left-hand side and work my way to the right. I can't cut through anybody's yard, so I have to come up 3 spots, and I have to come over 4 spots to the right. You'll notice I said when I was going up, I put a +3. If I go up, it's positive, so it's a plus. If I go right, it's positive, so it's a plus. So my slope is rise over run. So in this case, that's +3/4, which is 3/4. You would need to reduce this if you could. In this case, we can't. Looking at the second one, again, I'm going to start at the dot on the left. I'm going to go up. I'm going up 4 blocks. Because I'm going up, it's a +4. I am going to the right 5 blocks. Because I am going to the right, it is +5. So my slope is 4/5. So in this one here, again, I'm going to start on the left. You'll notice this time I'm coming down. So it's going to be a -1 because I'm going down. I'm still going to the right 3 blocks, so it's a +3. So my slope will be -1/3. In this last one, you don't even really have to do anything. What I want you to realize is that this is a horizontal line. And a horizontal line, I'm just going to need you to remember that a horizontal line has what is known as zero slope. And you do need to write it out as zero slope. Please write the word zero, don't just make a circle. Okay, so the fourth one, just by looking at it, we need to be able to identify that as a zero slope. Homework tonight is a worksheet. You're going to be looking at the rise over run, telling me is it a positive or a negative line. So warm up today. Ramp has a rise of 3 feet and a run of 18 feet. Remember that slope is rise over run. So that's going to be 3/18. 3/18 reduces. I can divide top and bottom by 3, giving me 1/6. And the 2 problems down here. You can pick any of the 2 dots, doesn't matter which 2, but I chose the 2 on the top here. I went down 2 and I went to the right 1, so my slope is going to be -2/1. You can write that as just -2 if you would like, but you can leave it -2/1. And the last problem here, starting with the dot on the bottom, I'm going up 2 and right 1. So that's going to be +2/1. Again, you can leave it as 2/1, or you can write it as +2. Now we're going to look at finding slope by ordered pairs. Okay? And apparently my graph didn't show up, so I'm just going to have to wing it. In order to find that, we're going to use the formula y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. So basically, I'm going to give you 2 ordered pairs. Let's go with, we'll make it easy, 1, 2, and 3, 4 to start. Okay. Remember that in your ordered pairs, you have an x and a y and an x and a y. Basically, what this is saying is you're going to take the 2 y values. Doesn't matter which one you put first, and you're going to put them on the top of the fraction. I'm going to do 4 minus 2. Because I put the 4 first on the top, the 3 in the same parenthesis has to go first on the bottom. 3 minus 1. You do want to change to plus the opposite. Even though you could probably do that subtraction in your head, you still want to change to plus the opposite. 4 plus -2 is 2. 3 plus -1 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1 for a slope of 1. So here we have some more that we can look at. Remember that I'm looking at x and y, So y's go on top. Y minus y over x minus x. So 7 minus 2 over 4 minus 1 plus the opposite. That gives me 5 over 3 as my slope. Down here, 5 plus negative 1 over negative 2 plus negative 6. That's going to give me 4 over negative 8, which reduces to negative 1/2. You'll notice I bumped my negative to the top of the fraction. I like my negatives in the numerator of a fraction, but it makes no difference. If you'd like to leave it as 1 over negative 2, that's perfectly fine. Third problem, 0 minus negative 9 over 0 minus 3 plus the opposite. Make sure you go plus positive 9. That's going to give me 9 over 3, which will reduce to 3 over 1. Fourth one, 8 minus 0 over 7 minus 5 plus the opposite. Not that a negative 0 is going to do anything. This is going to give me 8 over 2, which will reduce to 4 over 1, which is just 4. Here's 2 for you to try. Go ahead, try them on your own, and then we'll go ahead and go over the answers. So now I'm going to do negative 1 minus a negative 1 over 4 minus 0 plus positive 1 plus negative 0. I'm going to end up with 0 over 4. If you have 0 in the top of the fraction, that's a 0 slope. 0 in the top of a fraction is 0 slope. Doesn't matter if you have 0 over 4 or 0 over negative 4. Just the fact that you have 0 in the top of the fraction means your final answer needs to be the written words 0 slope. In the second one, I have 5 minus 0 over 3 minus 3 plus the opposite. That's going to give me 5 over 0. 0 in the bottom or underneath is undefined. I like to use underneath because under and undefined kind of sound similar and help me remember. So here we're looking at one of our friends, the word problems. So we have the steepest part of trail A. So for trail A, we have a rise of 15 feet over a horizontal distance of 50 feet. That will reduce to 3 over 10, or 0.30. Decimals will be a little easier to work with in this problem. For trail B, oh, that's a bad B. Let me rewrite that B. For trail B, that's a little better. We have 30 over 75, which will reduce down to, that'll be 10 over 25. So then I can divide by 5. So that's 2/5, which is 0.40 as a decimal. The instructor wants to avoid the steep trails. If you want to avoid the steep trails, you're going to take trail A because 0.3 is smaller than 0.4. It's not as steep. The higher your numbers are, the steeper the line is. And we're not going to look at this one here. So now we're up to your homework. Your homework tonight is in your textbook. If you don't have your textbook with you, you can access the online version of the textbook from my website under the resources link. That will help you get there. You're looking at problems 1 through 8, 11, 12, and 13 for this evening.